Nobody in the company wants to go hop in to the worst of both possible worlds and go out and do all things inefficiently.
Wow.
Yes.
So it's not.
That's the secret sauce right there.
I mean,
All right, you guys. We are going to put a mini excavator against the skid loader. We are going to do a number of different things. We're going to dig a footing just like it's for a retaining wall or a garage footing. We're also going to attempt to move materials with both pieces of equipment on a side by each basis. We're going to see which one dominates. And last but not least, we're going to take an area like this and try to turn this apocalypse into a usable field using each piece of equipment and see which one comes out on top. Predictions.
I think the Mini X is going to take it.
I'm going with the skid steer all day long.
Your prediction. Before we start, which one's gonna dominate? Comment down below. And what are we waiting for? Let's just do this like we got drones. Drones. Boys, what we're looking at, I call this equipment. That is just a sick, gorgeous, beautiful, mouth-watering shot if I've ever seen one. Just cat, ASV, cat, lowboy trailer. We're talking about $250,000 worth of gear between that truck and those three pieces just sitting right there. Ah, that is awesome. Guys, we got a Cat 3055 mini excavator. We're going to do a compare and contrast against the Cat 289D skid loader. Both are fairly equivalent inside of the industry, but what we're going to actually be doing is a comparison of how they function doing normal day-to-day jobs. Just the kind of stuff that you guys are going to encounter on different job sites, we're going to attempt to duplicate and show you how each machine will either succeed or fail in comparison to the other one. A lot of guys want to know when they're out making their first purchase decision which is better, a mini excavator or a skid loader. Well, we're going to try to cover that today. First thing that we're going to be doing is digging a 30-foot trench for a retaining wall. Any kind of a footing that you can envision we're actually going to be doing. We're going to try to dig 18 inches deep. 18 inches deep. We are eyeballing it, it's just a video. 18 inches deep. 18 inches deep, that's a realistic number. So if you're building a retaining wall, that gives you 6 inches of material plus 1 foot of buried block. So, are you ready?
There you go.
Are you ready? So for this first one, I set out 2 stakes and I wanted to see which machine could do a better job. Not just a faster job, but just an overall better job. And you're gonna see how each machine left their job site. Alright guys, here's the skinny. I'm going to actually let this entire sequence play out. A lot of times I try to cut to the chase and get to the point as fast as possible, but some of you guys have been saying you actually like to watch equipment operate. I guess I've been doing it my entire life. It's not as fascinating for me anymore, but if you guys like it, I'm going to let this one roll. So tell me in the comments down below. Do you want to see longer sequences of equipment in operation? Because if you do, wow, hell, that's an easy order to fill. I'll do that for you. I've seen of digging a foot in, but that's neither here nor there. Another thing to note is that the skid loader needs a lot more space to do a lot dirtier job. But also, this is soft sand. If this was hard packed clay, the excavator would smoke the skid loader. The skid loader could still do it, but not nearly to this level. The skid loader is actually keeping up with the excavator because the material is so soft. That's the only reason why this one happens to be a close call. Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate your help.
You're welcome.
So Travis won this. We anticipated that he would win this, but let's take a look at actually the results of how this trench looked. This was a 5-minute, 30-foot trench, so it wasn't meant to be pretty, but it was meant to be a demonstration. And we got fills over here. You can definitely see where you've got better ability with the mini excavator, but if you don't have one, you can still get the job done, right?
That's absolutely right.
All right, so let's back this thing up real quick. Now, overall, if you were going to buy one piece of equipment, Travis, what are you going to say? Mini excavator or skid loader?
Well, I got to start with a skid loader. I think it's a strategy perhaps an untested strategy, but I think if a guy started with a Mini X, I think he'd have a major advantage over a guy that starts with a skid.
Why?
Major. You can do more tasks with a Mini. You can dig out stumps. You can even do tree service. It's lower damage. So if you look at the like Phil's site over there, it's got a lot of tore up grass or whatnot. The Mini X could just put in a sewer line and left the person's lawn in decent order. The main reason though is that everybody has got a skid. Very few guys have a Mini X.
What's your feeling, Mini X or a skid for your first piece?
I definitely go with the skid steer. I mean, look, this trench isn't pretty, but it's done. Now, if this were a real retaining wall, the next step in this process would be bringing in block, gravel, all of your backfill materials. All of that would be coming on pallets or in buckets, and that's exactly what this machine is designed to be used for. So this trench definitely didn't get done as fast, and it would need some handwork to clean up, but this machine is ready to go to work for the rest of every other function this job requires.
Okay, so the next function on a typical job will be to transport materials across the site. Yay or nay?
No, agreed, 100%.
Okay, so I want to see you guys transport where Sarah's at over to where our sticks are at. You've got to transport material. We're gonna need 4 yards transported over there.
Mini X is definitely not your ticket for that.
Okay, well let's just
try it out.
But let's just see, because it's got to be one machine all around what's gonna happen. Round one, digging a footing. Obviously the Mini X dominated. Skid steer actually was able to do it. When these guys are working on a project, they're going to be excavating material, and they've got to get it out to the street, out to a different part of the job site. So that's the next step in this game.
Let me say one more thing. In this trench, I hit a pretty nasty stump in here, or a root in here, that I know that Mini X went through a lot faster. That slowed me down quite a bit when I was doing this trench. So that's another big obstacle against the Mini X.
Okay. So now for this next one, the guys have to take soil 4 cubic yards from the stockpile and move it to the opposite end of the trench. Now I'm gonna guess most of you guys can assume who's going to win this battle, but what more importantly I really wanna show you is how Travis on the Cat excavator is doing it. Some guys may automatically grab a scoop and then transport it all the way down to the end, similar to what this skid steer is doing, but doing it with the excavator. When you operate like that, you're doing a lot of unnecessary wear and tear on the tracks of that excavator. So what you see Travis doing here is he's getting the amount of soil necessary that he needs to move to the end in one spot. Then he simply swings the excavator around to the other end and he's going to grab it. We call this the double move. Basically, you're handling the material more than once. Anytime you're working on a job site, guys, and you need to handle material more than one time, you're operating inefficiently, and you're going to actually see this side by each with this Caterpillar skid steer and this Cat excavator going head to head right here. You can see how much faster the Cat skid steer gets this job done, and then Phil's got to throw a little salt in the wound when he's done and come over and help out Travis on the excavator. So moving material over a short distance, the excavator can still do it, but it's not efficient. Now if this were a longer run, the excavator pretty much becomes useless because it's got to not just double boom it, it may have to triple or quadruple boom it, and by that time, you're better off calling in a different piece of equipment. And that's exactly what Phil's trying to prove by coming in onto Travis's side of the stockpile and starting to help him move his material. But let's talk to the guys and see what they have. You knew it, I knew it, but we had to show it. Let's talk about this real quick. Alright, so Travis, you were doing the double move.
I was doing the double move.
You were doing the handle it twice to get it 30 feet across the site. And if we had to go 80 feet,
I'd have to move. I'd have to use a different machine.
yeah,
Or just take my time with it.
you can do it.
You can do it. You can switch your bucket too. You can go with a bigger bucket.
Go with a bigger bucket. Now we do have a trenching bucket on, and of course, Phil, you had to rub a little salt in the wound by coming over and giving him a hand.
Hey, you know, just trying to help a fellow brother out.
But like all skid guys, he messed up the site.
Those are intentional donuts. They were beautiful.
Like all skid guys.
This is true.
The excavator's for the contractor with some finesse.
Phil's doing the crappie floppy. Watch him. I bet that's a fun ride in there. All right, Sarah's got the timer going on this next one, guys. We've got all these palmettos. It's kind of like just going into a rough, messed up yard. And the idea is in 4 minutes, who can clear this and turn this into a usable field? Meaning that you can't have any buried roots. You can't have any of the palmettos left. We want this as usable as possible for a field. Doesn't have to, no roots left.
No roots.
No roots.
No roots. No roots.
No
roots, man.
No roots, man. All right. And we got 4 minutes. So we're going to set the timer. Sarah will be running the timer and my camera here. I'll put the drone in the air.
Give us a 2-minute warning.
Phil will be over there working. Phil, you do not run into Travis. Travis, you'll be over here working.
I'll just be going from this pine to that oak, and it'll be looking all nice and sweet in 4 minutes.
You get to use the bucket or the blade. Phil, you get to use what you've got.
I could do some amazing things in 4 minutes.
No.
No, thumb too. You want to
Okay.
use the thumb.
All right.
Yep, because you have a thumb on it, so you can use
The
it.
blade.
Are you guys ready?
Ready to go?
3, 2, 1, go. The big question is, do we actually have a winner? Now, it's pretty apparent that Phil was able to clear a larger area, but did he get the roots out? That's the real question, because that was part of turning this into a functional field. Let's find out. There's Travis's root pile. Root.
You're just gonna see quality roots. Pull it out, man.
So I would say that here's the general area that we've got done. Travis, stand in your area. Phil, will you stand in your area so that we've got kind of a perspective?
Just like all this perfectness, no organics are in the soil. It's just
Perfectness.
perfectness.
Sarah, will you hold
Man, I
this
need to
one?
comb it out a little bit, but I mean, it's perfectness.
You know, one of the things that surprised me is you didn't take advantage of your blade that you have on front of it. this is Travis's perfectness. So when you go to hire on-site Army,
Look, man,
this is the perfect.
See, this is why I didn't want to use the blade, because this stuff gets buried. It looks good from the top, but you got to make sure it's like totally perfect.
I was surprised. Now, I would have came in with the blade and tried to blade some of this off. Now let's go look at Phil's stuff. Phil, were you able to get any roots out?
I think I was. I mean, they're not all entirely cleaned up yet, but I mean, there's still a decent amount of roots here. I got the beginning of some. So we got roots. Got a couple over here.
I would say that you've cleared out about twice as much actual area, but I don't think you've got as many of the roots actually exposed and removed as what Travis was able to do.
Yeah.
So in this case, I don't see where there's a very clear-cut winner in either situation. If there weren't a lot of roots, you would obviously dominate. If we've got to go deeper and we actually had to remove stumps, I think Travis and the mini excavator would definitely do it. But one of the things, I guess, the takeaway from this is, guys, you can start with either piece of equipment as long as you realize that there's going to be advantages and disadvantages to each one. What do you guys think?
No question about it. In our area, everybody's got a skid. Everybody and their mother has got a skid. Nobody's got a mini X.
But nobody's dads have skids.
Nobody's dad's got skids.
Just moms.
No.
You know, and I would say on this one, this is close because it would take, we had 4 minutes of time. This could easily take us both a day where you could do quality work and not have to come back, but I'm gonna have to make 2, 3, 4 passes to make this thing look finished.
It's true. I mean, loading a truck with a mini X is a dream. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
As long as you don't mind doing 4 times the amount of work in a mini X.
If you can't get the machine.
Even if the truck was right here, he can pick up a yard at a time, pick it up, put it in, and for every 1 scoop he does, you're doing 4 because you've got a quarter yard
no
bucket
question about
on
it.
a mini X.
I think my strategy is to not have a skid. It's just to own the mini X. So I think that a skid is a requirement on most job sites, no, hands down. But I think that they're affordable and I can bring them in cheaper than I can bring in a mini X.
So for the very first piece of equipment, this is what we want to kind of nail this question down. You picked a skid, you picked a mini X. Are you staying with the mini X now?
If those are my only options, but if I don't have those options, tractor loader backhoe, baby. I'm bringing it back to the 80s. I'm bringing it back to the 80s.
The clumsiest of everything.
The tractor loader backhoe, baby.
Because that is
both of them.
That is literally what I started with.
Yeah.
I literally started with a tractor loader backhoe.
I got
and it was like a dream come true when I finally got a skid loader.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, this is what grading is like. This is what being able to move a pallet's like. Oh, hey, guess what? I don't have to chain up my pallet and drag it across the job site. I can hook into a set of forks, pick it up, and carry it, put it right where I want to. You know, you want the worst of all the worlds.
Based on cost, any guy watching this video that's out doing lawn care, doing small landscape jobs, you can get into a tractor loader backhoe for 20 grand or shy of that.
And a good one, because
you know what I mean?
I own 2 of them, and guess what my tractor...
This thing is 50, 60 grand.
Right.
Yeah. You know,
if you
that thing's 50, 60 grand.
Both of them.
You know?
But here's the thing. My tractor loader backhoes never move from May until November. They never move. They don't get used. Nobody in the company
because you've got the skids.
Nobody in the company wants to go hop in to the worst of both possible worlds and go out and do all things inefficiently. Yay, let's dig.
That's
okay,
true.
let's move
But for the
dirt from here to
one
here.
guy, one machine, and you're starting out and you got like 20 grand,
okay,
not a bad way to go. You get yourself like a Kubota L45 and you're in the game.
All right, if you're in winter though areas, TLBs are the way to go because they'll pay you as much for a TLB as they will a payloader.
Wow.
Yes.
So it's not.
That's the secret sauce right there.
I mean, no question that the skid is efficient at what it does. The Mini X is definitely efficient at what it does. But if you can only afford one, probably a skid is not a bad way to go if your area is not saturated.
You start with a skid.
Yeah.
Because you can do everything, just can't do all of the things that a Mini X can do. Then you move into a Mini X, and if you really can only afford one piece of equipment, yes, you can use a TLB. I literally started with a TLB.
Dude,
I did.
Everybody suggests not starting with a TLB, but when you talk to them, they're like, you know, I had one, I hated it. You know what I mean? But they started with it.
I started with it.
Like Kyle's excavation or whatnot on YouTube. He's same thing. Started with TLB, but doesn't recommend it. Truth started with a TLB, doesn't recommend it. Yep. You started with TLB, don't recommend it. right?
But
And
that
it's
is-
very
that
old
is
school.
the- yeah.
It's very old
If you
school.
guys are talking about starting with a piece of equipment at a lower budget than a Mini X or a skid steer,
Yeah.
mini skid steer
Is a great way to go.
far better to go.
Yeah.
I mean, those are awesome machines that have come a long way. I mean,
But
you
they can be pricey though. They're a new Bobcat
you
is
can't
30
get into
grand.
all these jobs with the Mini X.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not going to
they're
tell.
mini.
So
But if
you
you
can
were-
tell them what you guys want. I don't want these guys starting out with a Mini excavator because they're not going to be able to get into every single job.
That's true.
And
that's
that's
true. And the more that you can, I guess when you're starting out, the more jobs you can take, the better you're going to be. For sure.
Well, and
Oh,
if you're
yeah.
looking at
Yeah.
sod and things that require
You gotta-
that are entry level jobs
you
that
gotta have a
require
skid
material
steer.
movement and palletized product, the skid steer's the way to go and stuff like that.
Yep, I would agree with that.
Boom, baby. That's what we got for today. And I just smacked Phil in the. Anyway, let's get
round
this.
shiny noggin.
Thanks, guys. It's been a great day. Let's wrap this one up. You guys tell me, what do you start with? Do any of you guys ever start with a TLB? Do you start with, you love your Mini X? Do you like your skid loader? Talk to me in the comments down below. And make sure you check out these videos. We just put some new awesome content out, and look at these videos right here.
You know what we have to do?
What?
It's my buddy's place. We're going to have to clean this up for him.
Yeah,
When we get you in the SK.
that's fine. I'll be. Oh, yeah.
Why don't we make this real nice?
Big dog. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Hey, Dad,
Little-
you think you could clean this up for us?
It's quitting time. We'll see you, Stan.
You know what?
Great video.
Little bonus content coming at you right now. Cleaning this place up.
All right, we got the DirtMonkey going forestry chimp, SK350. Should be good.